outcome, right? The most beautiful churches in the world took 300, 400, 500 years, 1,000 years to build. They were cross-generational projects.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not saying that we can save men right now. That would be absurd. What I am saying, though, is that men can save themselves by working towards that goal.
Yeah, religion's always been a very good way to increase productivity. Obviously, keep your head on straight, avoid a bunch of stupid shit. Luckily, if you got discipline, you can avoid it. Avoid being an alcoholic or doing drugs and doing all those stupid shit. But yeah, I mean, religion absolutely helps a lot of people when it comes to that. It's just that I look at it like, damn, are people gonna because I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Personally, I think it's gonna continue to get even. Yep. I think women are gonna continue to be even. I think it's gonna be like right now. It's cool to be a sex worker as a chick. Like you got young people nowadays, right? Yeah, boys and girls saying, "I want to be an influencer." Right? For the girls, I want to be an influencer that's sexualizing myself. For the guys, they want to be a moronic idiot that's on Twitch running around doing stupid shit. So it's like. It's the youth is like just brainwashed, and then you compound that with the music, with TikTok, with with the pornography, the ubiquitousness of ubiquity of pornography. Everywhere. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. So it's like I look at it like fuck, like okay, how's the guy gonna navigate this nowadays? Like religion ain't gonna save you from these hoes right now. Maybe in like you said, in 2 to 3 generations.
But you know what saves men though? A mission.
Absolutely, I agree.
What saves men is a mission.
Yeah.
And if you give men a direction and they know that they're collectively working towards that mission, man, it's incredible how much men can achieve even with a small collective and a mission and an ideology.
I agree.
And that's why I'm like, push that. Well, for me, you know what I mean? I'm going to push that. I'm going to push that direction. And it's been so successful in days past. And we've just forgotten we have our own institution too. The church. We have our own institutional power, and we can push back, but we have to get in their face. We have to stop pretending that Christianity is a be nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what is your strategy? Because like you got gay pastors now, you got female pastors.
You get in their face.
You got all
go
this
confront
stuff.
them.
Like
you ask these guys, just like what happened with TPUSA when they asked them the question of all questions. How is it that your LGBTQ push in conservatism is helping us win the culture war? And they had no answer to it, right? By the way, stroke of political genius that happened, okay? They got in their face. They said, no, this is not part of Christian ethics. This is not part of our grounding foundation. What are we trying to conserve here? And that type of thing, I think, has more of a value to general society than any other single thing men could be doing.
Yeah, I mean,
hold on. I've got a question for you, bro, because I've been listening this whole time.
Yeah.
I believe you're on the right track here, 100%. But I also come from a Christian background.
Yeah.
I believe what you're saying is true, 100%. Only the issue here is that, like, the church itself is not without fault, I think the church itself is wayward. It's gone all the way left. Now, granted, how do you fix the issue at hand? It starts with the church. But the Pope himself, other pastors that are funded by the government themselves are all to the left. How do you fix that?
I'll explain. You are correct, especially in Catholicism, this is true. But you know what's interesting about the Catholic Church, and I'm an Orthodox myself, not Catholic. But what's interesting is you have, for the first time in an organization that I've seen, which is involved in politics, you have top-down instead of bottom-up corruption. Usually it's corruption from the bottom, which goes up to the top, and then the top stays corrupt, right? In this case, a lot of Catholics are based, man. I mean, they're pretty awesome. They're the grounding foundation of Catholicism. They're the money givers. They're the tithers.
Yeah.
They're the people who are making the Catholic Church possible to begin with. And it's like, it's really easy to go to those people and say, stop tithing. Stop tithing if they're going to go towards this, this type of agenda. Stop feeding the money to them. That's how you get at Catholicism, because the bottom's not corrupt. The top is corrupt. You can go for the clergy, and the clergy can vote with their wallet. And man, if you starve an institution of money, what happens, right? That's what they do to creators, right? They don't like what you say, they starve you of money, and that shuts you up. And it's the same thing with any organization. It's the same thing within Orthodoxy. It's the same thing within Protestantism. Cut off the money supply until they reform to what they're supposed to be. And it's like the Catholic Church, much harder, because the corruption does go up to the top, in my opinion. Okay. But still, the grounding foundation of most Catholics, they're pretty awesome. Most of them are pretty awesome people. And it's like, I don't think it would take too much to begin to push them to say, stop tithing that way until, some of this stuff goes by the wayside.
Who are they going to follow? You or the Pope?
Well, they're going to follow the Pope for the most part, but some of them are so frustrated with what's going on with papal authority or papal authority that I don't think it would take much, right? I'm not saying that one man's going to be able to push the whole tide. What I'm saying is that you can begin at least to do your own part to move people towards that. Not saying one guy's going to be able to do it. That's absurd. Though single people have been able to do things like this in the past, I think that everybody moving towards it in their own way, trying their hardest in their own way to move towards that. That's how you see things get done.
I like that. I would just say, though, tell me if you understand this phrase, right will be wrong, wrong will be right in these times.
Right will be wrong and wrong will be right. Yeah. So, but that's all times.
But even more so now.
Well, more so than when. So if you look at history, if we're going to get into theology, right? Everything that is to come to pass has already come to pass.
Yes.
Right. Could be way worse in 100 years, and it may have been way worse 200 years ago. Right. Ultimately, I'm not going to look at it though and say, hey, we're in the end times right this second, so I'm just going to throw in the towel and throw my hat on the couch and I'm done. No, I'm going to still act within the ethical purview of which I've been given, and I'm going to, if Jesus comes tomorrow, right, and it was all for nothing, then it was all for something. So that's the way I see it.
I like it. Good man.
No, I mean, you did say it's a multi-generational thing, which I think, it's gonna take a while. It's just that I think, like, with the way things are now, us being in a secular society, etc. And I know you disagree with me on the 50 body count, which is totally fine. I think that's important for you to be able to have a conversation with people that you disagree with.
Sure.
I think it's a viable strategy given the environment that we're in now, with the way women are, with the way the marriage institute is set up in the United States, with the state being involved, etc. And let's be honest, most guys are not going to get married through a religious counterpart that's going to protect them and not incentivize the woman, because most women nowadays are like, if I'm going to get married, I need a marriage certificate. I need all this stuff. I mean, hell, you can't even tell a girl nowadays that you want a prenup without issues, right? So it's like, I think with knowing that most guys are going to get married through the state, it's like, all right, you're going to go through this route, then you need to be prepared. Because I think it's the most important boxing match of your life. You need to train, because that girl's definitely been training when she was going through college and being at the 304 and smashing dudes and all this other stuff. So it's like, which goes back, I was going to ask you about this, actually. I wrote this down.
Sure.
You have a very strong you don't like egalitarianism.
No.
Right? And feminism, etc. Which I agree with you. I think brings a lot of inherent problems, which is why we're even having this conversation right now with how should men move nowadays, right? Yeah. And, I think, obviously, feminism is what's caused a lot of this. What's your, I guess, I'll just turn it to you and you tell us what your issues are with it. And you just go off.
Sure. So feminism starts with a flawed assumption that egalitarianism is even possible and that equity is even possible. It is not. It's actually illogical. Egalitarianism is illogical. Men and women have a very different ontology. The basis of what they are is different. But they also have another glaring problem, which is force. Men are always going to have a monopoly on force. Therefore, women's rights can only come from men. That's the only way it's actually possible, is through the enforcement arm. So when women say we want an egalitarian voluntary society, they're actually relying on force of men in order to take care of those laws inside of that society for their egalitarianism. It's instantly unequal. That's why you can be drafted.
Yeah.
And they can't.
Exactly.
Because the monopoly on force to protect their pampered asses is done by men such as yourself and others who have the monopoly on force. So egalitarianism from the ground up is a flawed concept immediately. Feminism, right, has been taking the last 200 years to subvert this concept and say instead, no, we're interchangeable widgets. Women can do everything that men can do, except basically everything men can do. Their bone structure, their body, everything's completely different. Just having most women just working outside, right? Their actual physiology can't take it. They have trouble with heat regulation. They have trouble with all sorts of things. They actually can't do a lot of those jobs. Not all women. There's plenty of outliers who can, but not enough.
Yeah.
Whereas most men,
And I think that's the key right there.
That's right.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough can do it where we can sustain society.
but most men can.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's funny, is it's not outliers with men, it's most. And I'm talking most men, even big, fat, obese dudes.
Yeah.
Right? I see them working on road crews, and they're hauling shit, right?
Yep.
They are paving roads. They're still doing it.
Yep.
Okay? I have not, that the Helgas of the world, right? They're working in office spaces for a reason. They actually can't do it.
Yeah.
So all of the modernity that they enjoy is basically created by men. And that's the only reason that they even have a leg to stand on for any egalitarian claims to begin with, is because we've built the society from which they make the claims. We built the microphones they're speaking into from which to make those claims. And then on top of that, protect their pampered asses at night while they're at home sleeping. And they go, but I'm just as good as it. It's ridiculous. Egalitarianism is actually logically, and any feminist hearing this, whoever wants to debate on egalitarianism, I welcome it. Don't care how high profile you are. I'll go right into your studio, wherever you are, and completely eviscerate you on it. There is no such thing. It's a complete and total lie. There's a book you should read. My wife wrote it. It's called Occult Feminism. I brought a copy, actually. I brought for both of you. I'll bring them to you next show. But phenomenal. Traces all the roots of feminism right to its core. And yeah, it's all based on these flawed presuppositions that men and women are interchangeable widgets, and 90% of the problems you see in society can be traced back to this idea.
You know, it's interesting.
So
I agree
that's my
100%
rant.
with
That's my
all of
rant.
that. I've said a bunch of that a bunch of times when talking to women, and you know, people get angry at me. I've taken a stance. I've said I genuinely think a woman's vote should be 50% of a man's. And whoa, holy crap, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, it's because of all the things you just listed.
Yeah.
Men are the ones that are typically predominantly in the military, in the police force, etc. Like, we're the enforcers at the end of the day to give you and protect the rights that you talk about. So it's like, you know, and then the other thing too is that a lot of them aren't in like infrastructure jobs that keep the country going. I think you should only vote if you have skin in the game. And the military draft, they don't have to.
That's
go
how
to
it
the
used to
military
be.
Draft.
It used to be you had to have skin in the game. Now,
Yeah.
you know, there's hundreds of ways to do this besides property ownership.
Yeah.
You can do single household voting.
Yeah.
Only married couples can vote. And so now you and your wife's vote, it's for the whole household, right?
That works
That's a
too.
really good way to curb that.
Yeah.
There's another way to curb that too. You can do selective service voting. You give 6 years of your life to the state unpaid, and now you have the right to vote.
Yeah.
Right? That's skin in the game.
Yep.
You don't have to make it based around, you don't even have to
I've
take
said it
women
before.
out, because what
They
will
have
happen.
to, they gotta have skin in the game. Government employee, your military service, etc. I'm like, okay, then you can get a full vote.
Sure.
But if like you're just a chick on fucking OnlyFans, dude,
Right. No
right?
way.
Or you're like one of these chicks
Or
that's
you're
like,
18.
yeah.
Why isn't 8? So how about this for the age gap argument, right? Oh, if the 40-year-olds taking advantage of this poor 19-year-old girl, then why can she negate his 40-year-old vote? If he is that superior to her that he can just
Damn.
instantly manipulate her, tell me why it is that she can nullify his vote.
That's a good. Damn, that's actually really
That
good.
makes no sense and is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard in my life, right? So you can mitigate it via household voting. Also, the trick is if you were to do like 6 years selective service where you weren't paid for it, but then you could vote, right? You'd have high status in your community. I very much doubt that most women would do that.
Hell no.
Very much doubt
No,
it.
they wouldn't.
And so, yeah, there's ways to mitigate this. And
Would you say that the reason why we've had incompetent leaders for so long in the United States is because of them voting?
yeah, women vote always
Democrat.
for self-interest security.
Yeah.
Self-interest security. And they don't
Thank
care.
God someone said it, man.
It's
Fuck
it's
it, I'm-
it's
People think
insane.
I'm crazy when I say this shit.
No, women are Democrats,
Loan
and
forgiveness,
Democrat
all this shit.
progressives are scumbags and they're evil. From my perspective, utilitarian Democrats, they're all utilitarians, by the way. They're all fundamentally hedonistically evil. And women push the Democrat vote like no other. And you know why? Because it's nice and socially acceptable.
Yeah.
I want to be accepted. I want everybody to accept that I am, part of the socially acceptable group. They don't ever want to be part of the non-socially acceptable group. They want to be part of the whole.
Yeah.
And so it's very unpopular. Right now, if right-wingers, if that was considered like the popular thing, the in-crowd thing, that was the thing everybody was doing, they'd all vote Republican. Okay, but it ain't, and they move towards the Democrat vote, and the reason is, man, they really offer up a lot of security for women, at the expense of men. But working class men, what are they all doing? They're all voting for Republicans.
Yeah.
They're all voting to, hey, stop taking my money.
Yeah.
Hey, this sucks.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to drive down the road that's actually paved instead of pothole filled. With why don't we put 2 more lanes? Looks like this we could put 2 more lanes. You know what I mean? They vote with risk.
Yeah.
They don't mind taking some risk.
Yeah.
Women, no risk.
Yeah.
No risk.
I mean, when you look at it, like they're just. It's interesting how our biology even determines how we vote, right? Like it's like, oh, more secure. There's secure. Oh, wait, you're gonna give us like loan forgiveness and handouts and stuff. Yeah, you know what? I'll vote this way, and. Yeah, man, they want the security, and a lot of the times Democrats sell them that security, even though they don't get it. They don't really get it, right? It's kind of how
they put it on a platter for them.
Yeah. It's how they got the black vote too. How the Democrats got the black vote was by selling security,
bribery.
So it's like it's a bunch of bullshit, man.
Yep.
That's your pocket minions, the black vote.
Yeah.
Well, what are they doing right now? Think about this. Like, I'll give you a really good.
We'll read chats here in a bit, guys.
Yep.
Get them in now while you can, and we'll read them here.
I'll
in
give
a
you
second.
one of the most fantastic kind of arguments on this. If they ever say, no, we don't have security, just look at abortion. Just look at abortion.
Good point.
Women want the right to abort for security.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they want it, right? I don't want to be laid down with this little thing that's going to take 18 years of my life that I have to support and mother and blah 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 blah. What are Democrats pushing? We want a woman's right to choose. Women need to be able to choose. Women need to be able to abort. Women need to be able. But that's a security push, and that's all it is. And that is how it's being pushed.
Powerful.
If they take away your right to choose, what happens to your security? Why, you wouldn't just be able to have promiscuous sex with no consequences anymore, right? That's not security.
Yeah.
But that's a great example right this second that you can point to and say, look, other than for security, right, why would this be being pushed?
Yeah.
Because that's the way women see it.
It's interesting because when I look at women that vote on the right, 9 out of 10 times it's either A, they're married, or B, they are aligning with what their father or their brother taught them. 9 out of 10 times when they do that. But when they're like super blue, it's like, okay, single mom or didn't have a father in the household. There's like no strong masculine presence a lot of the
College.
times.
Well, and a lot of times, and let's never take this out of the equation, they simply don't think about it at all.
That too.
They simply have
facts.
never thought.
The cool thing to do is vote for Biden.
Yeah,
right?
they've simply never even bothered thinking about it. And when you put them to the question and you watch their entire ideology crumble from a single question, you go, how did you never think about that ever in your life? You went and destroyed my vote. You wrecked my vote. You wrecked my brother's vote, my father's vote. You know what I mean? That's what you guys never even thought about this.
They don't care.
Not for 1 second.
Yeah.
So I agree with you that there's got to be skin in the game. I think, for women that obviously are in the military, civil service, in government, etc., they have some skin in the game. Absolutely, your vote should be the same. But let's be honest, man. The majority of these chicks, like, I don't think an OnlyFans chick's vote should be equal to a man's vote. Fuck no. Or a sex worker, any of these chicks. Because they don't have skin in the game. They don't have to go to the draft.
You know how you win them over?
What?
TikTok. Listen, if you don't vote for our side, it's going to be banned. They vote for it 100%. They want it. So they want it.
Well, women are highly susceptible to propaganda.
Yeah.
If we can put ourselves in positions to be dealing in that propaganda, we can be dealing in the positions to influence women. And I can give you an example.
Advertisers target them predominantly.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
That was what I was going to say.
Predominantly target
If
them.
you can advertise towards women the alternative message, they'll go for it.
Look at Gillette. Like,
That's how they got them all smoking.
I always use this example, right? So it's like,
Yep.
the example I always use a lot of times just to show like how much they control the marketplace. Gillette did an ad, right, back in like 2018, 2019. This is years ago now, right? They're feeling the consequences of it now. But where they said toxic masculinity, right? And they just shit on men for like a couple minutes, right? Like men are shitty, blah, 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 whatever. And they did that, right, to target females. But think to yourself, wait, hold on. Men's razors. This is a company for men. why the fuck are they going to the opposite gender? That's like the equivalent to like Victoria's Secret said like, stop being toxic bitches. And they just had a bunch of,
Men.
you know, OF chicks. No, like OF chicks being 304s and finessing dudes and divorcing them and taking their money. Like, could you imagine outrage if like Victoria's Secret did that and like made like a men's empowerment type commercial and said, you stupid whores need to do better.
There wouldn't be one.
Like
Yeah,
they'd be done.
yeah,
They'd be
done.
shit on. But Gillette does that. They have the gall to do that, and they go after they shit on their target audience. But then in my head, it hit me. Oh, why? Because when you're an advertiser, you need to market to women, even at the expense of your target audience.
Yeah.
If that doesn't prove that the propaganda machine is always going to push the females, I don't know what else proves. You're going to ostracize the
Look at what
people
happened with
buying your
Budweiser.
shit.
Look at what happened with Budweiser.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing. Men were not into that message at all.
Yeah.
Right? That was a very social justice style message with Mulvaney. You know what I mean?
That was a big L.
And it was a huge L, right?
Huge L.
But who was coming out supporting it and calling you a bigot and evil?
Yeah.
Bunch of women.
Yeah.
I can't believe you, Myron. How could you?
Yeah.
How you're terrible about. You know what I mean? And it's like, what did you do?
Yeah, it's wild. And it's like the fact that advertisers are willing to take the risk and alienate the people that buy their shit to go ahead and appease females. It proves that we live in a gynocentric society, and the advertisers know this, and that's what you look at the Super Bowl commercials. Literally, we were just in Vegas. You look at the Super Bowl commercials; they were all targeted towards females.
I mean, Patrick mentioned with companies ESG scores. So I get it is a losing battle for money, but at the same time, to keep relevant and stay in these circles, you got to play the game on their level.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. I mean, like in my head, who was at the Bud Light meeting? Like, you know what, man, that's a good idea. Let's go ahead and shit on the guys that drink this shit, right? Which are, let's be honest, it's gonna be guys like you, Andrew.
Well, it was
right?
a female.
Like,
That's what I used to
Bud
like
Light.
it. I
Yeah,
used to like
Bud
Bud
Light,
Light.
right?
Yeah.
You know, like guys that drink Bud Light typically are American guys between 18 all the way up into the 50s that are like America, like all that stuff, like. And you're gonna go ahead and just say, let me put this fucking dude in here, like
Yeah, but who came up with it? A
It
woman.
was a woman. It was.
It was a woman.
It was.
She came up with the entire marketing strategy. And, you know, there's no escaping that that's true, that it's all gynocentric based.
Yep.
Right? But,
I think Gillette's commercial was run by a female.
yeah,
too.
but look, I mean, one thing that was kind of nice was the Christian base of the nation, they boycotted Budweiser. They boycotted them.
All of them.
And it
yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
And they were like, wait a second. We have some power here that we forgot we had.
Yeah.
And that was nice to see.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, that kind of pushback, I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah.
You know, and there's been a bunch of. I just wish, like, because the problem is, I know, like, I mean, I said this earlier, but it's like the libs, man, they're just so much louder than the conservative people. Like, you know, but the conservatives, like, it's a silent majority, though. Like, if you're on X, right, and you look at, like, someone post some stupid woke bullshit, like, the comments are like, you're a fucking idiot, stupid, blah, 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 etc. But it's like, where are these people in real life? Like, in real life, they're not the ones demonstrating and doing, you know, and, well, they're doing peaceful protests. But what gets on the news? The fucking liberals going crazy in Minneapolis, right? Like, it's just that, like, they just have more cam time. They control the media, right? They're in the media more. It's just, yeah.
They have another advantage
They've infiltrated.
that
Yeah,
is
go ahead.
often not thought about. Mentally ill people are entertaining. Mentally ill people, they're super fun to watch. And progressives all over the internet who are highly mentally ill, right? They're fun to watch and laugh at and, you know, make fun of and this kind of thing. Conservatives come on. We haven't had a good conservative voice like Rush Limbaugh, right? Come around, like, you know, that kind of once in a generation voice who's super entertaining and informative in, you know, the whole package deal.
Yeah.
It's harder because they have to go work, right? Being highly entertaining, as you know, it's a skill all in, you know, in itself.
Yeah.
And most on our side, a lot of them don't have it because they're not emotionally unstable lunatics.
What's going to get more views?
That's
a
right.
feminist in red hair screaming like, ah!
Yep.
Or a guy eloquently explaining the difference between men and women biologically. Well, people are going to go ahead and look at the feminist go, ah! You know, that's just, you're right.
I share them myself.
Yeah.
I share them. I'm not immune. I'm like, man, look at this crazy bitch. Look at this shit this chick is doing, right?
yeah.
And my buddy will send it back and go, what the fuck? You know? And then it goes viral.
Yeah.
But it is entertaining, and mentally ill people are entertaining, and the left is filled to the brim with them. I mean, it's just overloaded.
They brag about that.
Oh yeah, they love it. I've seen my psychiatrist and psychologist 8 times this week. You know what I mean? They love it. They're all on something. It's crazy.
Remember when maybe I'm showing my age with this one, but remember it used to be negative to go see a shrink.
Yeah.
Do they even call them shrinks anymore? Like it used to be wait, you went to go see a psychiatrist? You went to go see a therapist? What the fuck is wrong with you, pussy?
Well, now they're all bragging about their degrees. I have a degree in sociology. They all, by the way, have a degree in sociology.
Yeah.
Everyone, I haven't met one yet that doesn't have a degree in sociology.
Yeah.
And they love it. They think it's great because they think it's a form of manipulation. They think that they're going to school to learn how to manipulate people and their emotions and their machinations better. That's why they do it. That's why that's appealing to women to move towards sociological fields. That's why you see them move towards it, because it's a subtle form of manipulation.
Sure, Jordan Peterson's
you got pastors
his
sending
title.
people that are married to a psychiatrist. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but some of those pastors are also letting 2 men get married in their church.
That is true.
That
is wild too.
That to me is like, what? What is this?
It's sad, bro.
What is this?
That is wild. No, I mean, it's really an interesting time to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's we're old enough to remember.
I shouldn't exist right now. I should be in a factory. You know what I mean? It's like the fact that there's so many more coming.
Yeah.
Right? They're just tired of it, dude.
It used to be shameful to say I'm gonna go see my psychiatrist or I'm gonna go see a therapist or something. It used to be what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Man up, bitch.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But now it's a flex. Yeah, I'm on it. What's that fucking drug that people used to relax? I'm on Xanax.
Well, my dad.
Bro, we used to
lost
make
the world,
fun of
bro.
people. If you had to, I remember we used to make fun of kids. Wait, you take Ritalin? Fuck wrong with you? We used to laugh at people for that shit. Oh, you need Adderall to focus? You're an idiot. We used to roast people for that shit. Now it's oh, just pop it like candy. Xanax. There's a whole, and it's interesting because it's it's infiltrated the music. If you look at hip hop, right, in the 90s, right? Verbal, lyrical, things made sense. They're telling you a fucking story. You're listening to I don't even listen to Slick Rick, but I can acknowledge the fact that he was a good rapper, right? He's telling you a fucking story and shit. Kool Moe Dee, all these guys, right? Mm-hmm. Up until Jay-Z, etc. Then we get into the late 2000s, 2010s, etc. Then you start getting people mumble rapping, not making sense.
I'm on lean.
I'm on drugs, etc. And you're what the fuck is going on here? And as the drug use became more apparent in the music, right, and people are just open about it, now you got guys flexing, yeah, I'm on some Xanax right now. The regular guys flexing that shit. I'm what the fuck? I remember growing up as a kid, if you even said that you smoke weed, we'd kind of be what look at you, you fiend, you're a loser. But I don't know, man. It's cool to be a druggie nowadays. It's crazy to me.
Complete opposite.
It